We all band together to try to overcome the common enemy, but really show nobody really quite does it like Texas. Texas is the largest agricultural commodity in the world right now. It'll be no different with hemp or cannabis. So all we want to do is bring the techniques that only Texas can provide. And now that we have this opportunity with medical cannabis, doesn't mean that we're stepping away from what we do with Fresh Grown Texas or Drops of Life. And then we have Monarch Texas Cannabis. And what we want to do is take all three of those and just play our part in the puzzle of what this is going to become in Texas. All we want to do is bring the best medicine to the table, whether it be on the hemp or the cannabis side.
It's the Texas Growers Podcast, and we got a good one because Fresh Grown Texas is in the house. I got my boy Austin and Jake here from Fresh Grown, and we have so many things to talk about, so I'm not going to hold this one up with any long intro. So what's up, boys? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, brother? Thank you for having us.
My man Colton, thank you. It's good to be here.
It's great to have another grower in the house. We have had a shortage lately, but we're back on a trend of having real growers talk about their businesses and their life struggles and strife that come with being a grower in Texas. But Fresh Grown is leading the pack. If you haven't heard of them, they're also Drops of Life CBD. So we're going to talk about, the rec side, the medical side of Texas hemp and cannabis, and a lot of other insights because this guy's well-versed in everything. So I'll let you guys intro yourself, kind of give a background on who you are, how you got into the business, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I'm Austin. I'm originally from California, moved to Texas in 2005. I've been here a little under 20 years. Started growing for my family out in California, Casa Flor. We're still out there. We still have some farms out there. When first chance I got to come to Texas, I got introduced to Jake through Sherbinski, through Mario, and ever since then we've been rocking.
Right on. People say that they weren't from Texas, but they got here as quick as they could.
That's right, bro. Yeah.
100%. My name is Jake Gary. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Drops of Life CBD, Fresh Grown Texas. We are a vertically integrated operator here in Texas outside of Corpus Christi. We have a private 40-acre farm where we grow, manufacture, produce. We're focusing on rosin production right now, which is something that's huge for us. And yeah, we love growing. I come from a medical cannabis background. I come from the elevated family in New Mexico, where my brothers have taught me all my skill set. My best friend and brother, Orlando, is one of the founders. And him, Long, Manny, and hired all my medical cannabis team from New Mexico. So they're a big part of our success. And then, my partners and my team out here in Texas, we've just tried to, create some of the products and culture that we've had success with in New Mexico on the hemp side. So when we got into the industry around 2020, we'd already been doing medical cannabis in New Mexico since about 2010. We started off extracting, and then we were able to build brands and products, and then we got into cultivation. And so when I wanted to start Fresh Grown Texas, it's a funny story. We actually entered into the very first Taste of Texas hemp cup, and it was Grow House's first Taste of Texas. Shout out to Liz and Patrick. Sky Wellness was the main sponsor. My friend Skylar Jensen was there, and Oak Cliff and Tejas just completely waxed us. That's the night that Eddie took home, I think, 7 awards, and Aaron started his streak with Best Outdoor. And I just remember meeting all these people in the Texas scene. It was my first competition. It was really my first introduction into everybody. It was through the Texas Hemp Coalition, and it was such a beautiful scene. Like, everybody was getting along, and all the growers were, had their booths, and we were so new to this, but everybody just had a lot of love for each other. And so we came back next year, and we wanted to show people that, we've been doing this for a long time, and we're lucky to have the mentors that we do in New Mexico. So we jumped into cultivation, and next year at Taste of Texas, we took overall People's Choice and Best Indoor, and then followed up the last couple of years. We're a 4-time champion in Taste of Texas. So cultivation is something that's huge to us. We, it all begins and ends with the plant, with us. We focus on terpene structure, and we're trying to create an entourage effect in everything that we do and an experience. So for us, growing is where it's at, so that's what Fresh Grown Texas is about. We're just lucky to be here, working in Texas, trying to push the envelope, and it has not been easy the last year, but we're here and we're still chipping away. So
that's been a common theme when people come here and interview that are not from here. They get a taste of our market and our community, and they're like, what the fuck is this? Because it's never happened like this before.
Never.
To go to a competition and have guys be like, listen, we smoked you, but we're going to lift you up here. Yep. And you're going to go on to be a 4-time champion, versus like, yeah, stay down there, dude. You suck. Stay down there.
100%.
It's different. And we talk about all the time on the show, people don't understand the Texas community. And I'm like, well, it's us versus everyone else. It's not us versus each other. And it's like that way in a lot of issues, not just weed or hemp or any of this stuff. It's just our culture and our heritage, So that's interesting that you say that, and especially coming from other markets. It's been a common theme. I don't set up these lines. I don't tell people what to say. They all just say it, and that means it's true. And I think that's why we won this big fight this last year, and even before that. And we've been fighting this for many years before, but because everyone toes pretty much the same line. No one's really trying to undercut each other, even if there's not a big conference or talking points put in front of everyone. Like, the truth is the truth. 100%. Like you're saying, we don't need the notes. We don't need a script, Let me hit something in the parking lot and go in and, sit in front of them and be like, yo, try me. Cause I really do this. Like, ask me anything. Exactly. I got an answer. Yeah. You know what I mean? It may not be like from some website, but like, I really do this. So I don't need the website, it's real life. But cool. Our culture is crazy, man. And shout out to Liz again, because she really put a lot of the fabric together. I wouldn't be as close with you. I wouldn't know half the growers that I do, if not for Liz's events, and that's really hard. And then you got the fact that, like, right now we're, especially talking about other markets, we're in a place where I was blowing minds last night. I took people to the Glassmith, and people are like, so you're telling me that you can purchase at retail, consume, get entertained, eat food, buy a beer, all these different things at one location, all in the same place. And it's 24-hour, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, what? And that doesn't exist anywhere else. So like, people are seeing our culture and community, and they're like, wait, what? I did not know any of this was here. 100%. So I'm glad that we're going to keep that moving forward. I hope everyone sticks to that, lift up Texas people first, rather than putting them down.
Absolutely.
But I think having this common enemy recently has solidified a lot more of that style, like the community camaraderie, not competition. Absolutely. There's a few bad apples in every bunch, but whatever, it is what it is. Cream rises to the top. So
100%. The real recognize real. And to kind of touch on that, what was crazy about this last session is that you saw everybody and how well Texans actually stick together.
Right.
You saw, even though there's different groups from different organizations that had different ways of approaching the session, through, lobbying and working on bills and just putting in the FaceTime like you did with Greg Abbott. That stuff is so important. And so what I hope people saw, because for me, there was such misdirection on what our industry is.
Yeah.
People are going to air out, the worst of the worst, but there's those situations in every industry. It's not just ours. The thing is that I wanted people to see the unity that we had as, look, we all have different brands. We in somewhat way are in competition with each other, but we all band together to try to, like you said, overcome the common enemy, but really show what our industry is about. And the culture in Texas, to me, on the hemp side, is one of the most unique cultures I've seen. I've been around the United States. We're fortunate enough to, be operating in a lot of states, but nobody really quite does it like Texas. And like I said, people, like you said, like Liz and Patrick and Grow House, that really started a platform to show, the culture of who these growers really are, who's Tejas Hemp, who's Oak Cliff Cultivators, who's Jeremy Green. And these are some of the most phenomenal growers, like not only in Texas, but pound for pound, I'll put up our growers and our team against anybody. I know we may be
Absolutely.
late to the party, but we're not late to the technique.
Absolutely. But look at, we're stealing all the California talent. You know what I mean?
100%.
And
Yeah.
people, they can't resist Texas. And so
100%.
if you're not having the best time in your market, wherever you are, look at Texas. And there's plenty of people that have come in and done that, and they're great. We'll definitely own them. We'll give them honorary citizenship, you know, like this guy for being here for 20 years. But, you know, people are literally, there's an exodus from some markets, and you want to redo, cool, come to the place where there's no preconceived notions. There's no,
Exactly.
we're not, you know, being like, oh, well, California does this, so we're going to do it this way. Oh, the East
100%.
Coast does it like this, so we're going to do it this way. Like, we're going to do it our way. We're going to do it Texas, the right way, you know?
Yeah.
So that's crazy that it's developing just the way that I hoped and thought it would.
Yeah.
But it's coming into fruition, and I hope that everyone starts to see the benefits. I hope we have this big boom coming up now where, you know, people are going to go and choose a Texas business over some mass-produced import from wherever, or some, you know, large corporate conglomerate company, which again, like, they make decent products. No bashing them. I'm just saying, you know, remember when you go to the store or go online, you know, there's options for local Texas small batch
Absolutely.
companies out there that are doing things like to a craft level, like Fresh Grown and many others.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is what this platform is for, is to show that, you know, you don't have to just go buy the brand that you see all over the internet. You can look for brands like this that actually are tailored to you, or tailored around Texas, or have people who know genetics and strains and
Absolutely.
cultivation, you know. And it's not just, people forget about how much agriculture goes into this product, whether it's a flower or a gummy. Like, it all starts with the plant. You said that, you know, and that's
with the plant.
People were like, why are you out protecting farmers when this is a ban on consumables? And I'm like, because like, if you take away the market that farmers sell into, what are we going to do? Where do we make money? Yeah, exactly. So like that it does affect farmers, even though we're not explicitly in legislation, or it doesn't touch our department or whatever. I mean, you're taking away a huge piece of our market. That's going to hurt farmers.
100%.
It all starts with the plant. People forget that. So I'm glad that this platform can bring on guys like you.
I appreciate it, Colton. What do you think about genetics and what we're doing?
Man, I'm pretty excited. Honestly, we've got some cool things coming up as well. Some new strains that we're doing with some pretty big name companies. I can't speak on right now, but I'm definitely excited, bro. It's gonna be huge. Definitely, you know, Mario coming in and helping us with genetics, and then we've got the team in New Mexico killing it with their genetics.
Yeah.
Manny, shout out Manny, man. He's killing it, brother. We're just really happy.
Yeah,
Right on.
man. Manny created that Kim dog that the last Taste of Texas that Liz and Patrick had. We won the rarest terpene profile. And what's really cool about this genetic is that the combination of terpenes is only found in 1% of hemp and cannabis plants. And so, of course, it was something that we stumbled on. But shout out to Manny Ordaz and the Fresh Grown Systems, and, you know, the breeding. And that's just the thing, man, is like when legislation was going down and they were attacking the farmer, you know, we had to step in. And that's why people like you and I, when we were very active, you know, I was even able to go to speak in, Washington, DC with the Hemp Roundtable. And it's, you know, when you start attacking the plant, no matter where you're at in the industry, it becomes a very slippery slope. And so for me, the thing is, this is just like you said, a lot of the brands in Texas, we're Texans who make products for Texans. You know, my kitchen is GMP compliant. We're seed to sell. The reason why we do these things is so that we could guarantee the quality, access, and even the better price for our products. And so that's the other thing about legislation that, you know, that I hope people saw is, for one, Greg Abbott is an OG, you know, thanks for taking care of Texans and everything that you do. Always had faith in that guy, but also, you know, bad press, good press. So there was a lot of light shed on our industry right now. So I think it's key that, you know, the companies that do represent the face of Texas, like yourself and other brands that we just spoke about, you know, it's kind of like our due diligence right now to step up and show people the transparency and what we really bring to the table and who we are. You know, Texas is the largest agricultural commodity in the world right now. You know what I mean? In certain areas. And so it'll be no different with hemp or cannabis. So all we want to do is kind of, you know, combine the culture that we've learned from the West and bring, you know, the techniques that Texas and only Texas can provide, and kind of have that combination of a hybrid. And, all we want to do is bring the best medicine to the table, whether it be on the hemp or the cannabis side.
Totally. So, we saw like the biggest media push for cannabis in Texas history.
Yep.
For both positive and negative.
Absolutely.
And bad press is still press. So things got a little busy when they started to put us in the headlines, and put us on the news. Yeah, nationwide,
Nationwide, Dan
So-
Patrick, but it is what it is. And so for us, we just want to keep progressing, and that's why I was very excited to be on this podcast today, because I do feel that you uphold the integrity of the culture in Texas. I feel that you're pushing the envelope of really what's going on. There's a lot of misdirection and a lot of opinions instead of facts that are being displayed for, the community and the public. So really appreciate what you're doing on this platform and us being able to be on it today.
Totally. Yeah. It's here for you. That's what it's made for. And I
Love
think
it.
there's also there is some accountability, some transparency, some platforming, all of those things kind of go along with this. And just like with the testimonies, I knew that by doing this, people who are going to come on this show, you shouldn't come on this show if you're not compliant. You shouldn't come on the show if you're not legitimate.
100%.
You shouldn't come on this show
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you shouldn't go testify either, because we got attention. I
100%.
think both of us did, right?
Yeah,
Inevitably, from showing up and putting our face out there, or even just posting on social media, you are obviously opening up yourself for attention. And so by
are.
having a show like this and having people come on, it shows if you're going to go look for someone to inspect or enforce upon, my show is not the roster that you should be looking at. It's the people who don't show up here and you can't find that you should be hunting for. The ones that come and put their face and name and brand out there and everything, you're less likely to find infractions with those crew than the
Absolutely.
others. And so I feel like it's become a roster that they can just basically go down the line and say, okay, we want to go inspect this brand and this brand and this brand from Colton's podcast. Well, yeah, but you're looking in the wrong place, in my opinion, because we wouldn't be out here open like this if we knew we had a bunch of bad skeletons in the closet. You know what I
100%.
mean? And that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to skirt the laws and hide and all that stuff. You know what I mean? We're here to do this legitimately and for Texans.
Yep.
And I think that's been shown too with the publicity, is by us testifying and being out there, we're fighting for Texans' rights and freedoms. We're fighting for your access to something. And it's not just so we can all get high and stoned together. I mean, that is great. It's a great part of it. I was fighting for that a little bit. But it's really comes down to that fundamental, it's your personal liberty and freedom as a Texan. And also I see what other
Exactly.
products come in here, and you don't want that. You don't want them.
No,
you
not
don't
at
want
all.
them.
No.
And those companies, I think those companies should come here. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able, if you're a huge business or brand, cookies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cookies can come to Texas. You think they wouldn't come to Texas and hire locals? They do that. Other brands
Absolutely.
should do the same thing. It's no different if I want to go from Colorado to California. I got to pack up my crew and get a new facility and hire people from California and all that other stuff. So I think people should come here, and it should be kind of contained within the state lines if you're going to be selling it here. But
Absolutely.
we're going to get there. You know what I mean? That's the way down the line, and people have all these opinions about that. But to me, that just makes the most sense. I'm not saying you have to be Texan. I'm just saying you have to come here, put your brand here in the state before you sell here.
Exactly.
That's a small thing to ask. I mean, Elon's coming here. The oil and gas companies are here. Tech is here now. What more signs do you need that Texas is where you want to be? You know?
Absolutely.
100%.
But
It's a great
going
place
that
for
way.
brands right now. And,
Yeah.
the
Well, this
thing
market is
it's
so unique.
especially where we're at.
Man.
So how did you guys do $8 or $10 billion? And I'm like, because we're not handcuffed or chained to the ground like most other markets. We
Yeah.
didn't spend all of our money on fees and taxes and
Yeah.
licensing. You know what I mean?
30-something% tax
Yeah.
rate.
on the medical
We're
side.
not on
Yeah.
No.
track and trace, no metric we don't have to deal with. It's-
280Es.
But-
It's a little different.
I also, that's important when because legislators watch my show. They definitely watch some of my episodes. I've
Yeah.
been told that many times. And obviously the lady testified. She was like, I saw a podcast and these people don't have a license. She didn't know what she was talking about. We proved her wrong. But people watch, even the people that are against us.
Yeah.
So it's working. You know what I mean? And then I think
It is.
that bleeds into the transparency thing and the standard and bringing a better light to things, because even the people who are against us are watching, and they can't help but see stand-up individuals, business owners, family man over here. You can't help but see that. And so it makes it harder to argue, and it makes it harder for them to attack us whenever they know us. They can see us.
Absolutely.
We're just like them. It's like, when somebody attacks you, you scream your name, try to humanize yourself. That was literally the same principle here. Was like, we're just going to stay in front of these people.
Absolutely.
Whether it's at the 2 minutes in the Capitol or right here for an hour plus, we're just going to stay in front of these people. And that takes away a lot of the noise and like the ability for the noise to win or get out there. And everybody's fact checking these days and looking for information. So if I can be there first on YouTube or whatever, when people look up Texas Hemp, they're probably going to get off to a good start learning about what's truly going on here, which is fantastic. I think there's a lot of noise right now. I have a point coming up that we're going to talk about, but I also want to talk about like what can we do, in your opinion, to continue to change the way that not just consumers or society looks at us, but some of the legislators and some of the government. Like, obviously there's politics and donations that are backed on a lot of this, but in your opinion, from seeing other markets and seeing Texas, how should we act moving forward is what I would like to ask y'all.
That's a great question. I've been very heavily involved with legislation this last session, more than I've ever been. Been an executive board member of the Texas Hemp Coalition. I've learned a lot from Alyssa Nolan. You know what I mean? I've learned a lot from Eddie Belize and Aaron Owens on how to navigate these rooms. And for me, I think it's transparency and education. When we get inspected and they come to our farm, it's like the Belushi family farm. Mm-hmm. They show up and they're like, this is not what we were expecting. And we're like actually happy. And we're like, are we doing this right? Are we doing this wrong? And that's the thing, is when we get inspected, we look at it as a training or a measurement on how good we are, because we take pride in that type of transparency. So for me, I think it starts with the education and things like the Texas Hemp Summit and speaking like at universities. And like I said, podcasts like this are extremely important, because this is where a lot of the information is accessed. Like you said, you have a wide spectrum of audience, mm-hmm. from legislation to people that really support what you're doing to people that absolutely despise, and they're trying to find ways to trip us up or, find a kink in our armor, mm-hmm. so to speak. So for me, the more transparent we are, the more of an open book. And we do that through education. We do that through facts. There's a lot of opinions, and opinions don't drive reality. And, the fact of the matter is that we are amazing people trying to help people with what we make. Right. And at the end of the day, there's not enough light that's shed on that. So when we do it through education and we back it up with facts, the whole rescheduling talk, I feel a lot of people ask me how I feel about rescheduling, cannabis from 1 to 3. That brings in big pharma and a lot of other situations, but it also gives us the ability to actually have the right research for what this plant is. Right. We have an endocannabinoid system. There's no mistake. I'm a religious person. I don't believe God makes mistakes, and God made cannabis, so it's put on this earth for a reason. So I think it's for us, we need to explore more through, just different type of studies on what it does. And what we've seen on the medical side in the very beginning is, medical cannabis and how it interacted with people that were very sick, people that were, dying of cancer, people that, had a lot of severe issues and ailments that in the very beginning, cannabis wasn't really available. Right. And so over the landscape of the last 10 years and watching what my team Elevated has been able to do and the amount of people that they could help, it is just mind blowing. I've met people that, that are going through chemo that can't eat or sleep without taking the products that my team make. And it's not trying to promote like, oh, hey, we're a great brand. It's like, look at what cannabis is doing in general. If you're not going to buy our brand, that's fine. Go buy somebody else's. Yep. But do the time to do your research and educate what cannabinoids are and how terpenes affect your body. And so, for us, we have some projects over the next year that we plan on, exploring on what cannabinoids do with the body and how terpenes affect your mood, because we're the people on the forefront. When they bring in industry experts, I always laugh when people reference me as that. I'm like, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm still trying to figure this out. But for us, we have been around the plant for so long that we have to uphold, what it really is that we're trying to do. And we can't let the opinions of legislation or people who aren't from our industry make that decision for us and be that voice. So like I said, I think through education and transparency is the key to letting people know, like, hey, I'm a family man. I've got a family of three. My wife is, the backbone of our kitchen. My nephew oversees cultivation. My other nephew oversees the production of kitchen. We are very family oriented business. And I think when people see that, I was at soccer practice last night. And then I was at the grow before soccer practice. Right. You know what I mean? So it's a balance, and we just want people to see I'm a Christian, I'm a father, I'm a husband. Those are the most important thing in my life. But my passion is to show people how cannabis could help you live a better life.
Right.
So that's where I'm at on that.
If you want to kick back, relax, and support local, check out Texarkana Organics. This small family-owned business from Houston, Texas specializes in craft cannabis edibles. They have everything from drinks to artisan chocolates, space cakes, and so much more. They treat edibles like food first and cannabis second, so you can have the blissful experience you're looking for. Subscribe at TexarkanaOrganics.com for 15% off your first order.
I do want to talk about like the medical versus hemp stuff, especially with your perspective on that. I am absolutely an anti-medical marijuana person in Texas. And I think I should justify that by saying I'm not anti-medical cannabis or medical marijuana. I'm anti the teacup program as it is.
Absolutely.
And so I don't think it protects Texans the way that it should. I don't think it serves Texans the way that it should. And well, people say like what you said, obviously there's a medical benefit to this plant, and obviously people are having success using it.
Yeah.
And it's benefiting their life. And when you get testimonies like that all the time of, hey, I can't eat, now I can, or I'm hurting and now I'm not, I can't sleep, now I can. This makes it easy to go show up to testify and do something that's uncomfortable or learn a new environment to go battle for these people, because it's not for that $8 billion. And that's what I made sure to mention was like that $8 billion is not because we're great salesmen. It's because that it's a demand based on need. It's not a demand based on want. Like I want to get stoned. It's a demand based on I need this product to go to soccer practice tonight.
Exactly.
And because if I can't stand there, I'm not going to go. And then I'm going to miss the soccer practice with my kid. And then my kid will be affected. And then like all these things go down the line. Plus just the way that the program doesn't necessarily protect those folks. If you have the medical card and you get in trouble or pulled over with the wrong product and all these different variances, you can put yourself into a sticky situation depending on what law enforcement professional is handling that interdiction. And there's so many fallacies. And then you go to the side of like, for the businesses as an entrepreneur, I can't look at that and do numbers and see a way to be in the green, which to me does not compute when I'm going to do something.
Exactly.
And it's not because I don't like the program or the sentiment, or I don't believe that cannabis could help people. It's because of the way the program is set up right now, I don't think is beneficial to not only patients in Texas, but the companies involved.
Absolutely.
And I want that to change, which is why I want to ask you about, your application process, your thoughts on everything and kind of the future trajectory of that. Because I think that's also something that people are looking to, because there's noise around that. Like we have medical. It's the most robust medical. No. It's not. We have rec. Well, no, we have hemp, but so it's like there's so many different. It's so fucking confusing. And I wanted to get your opinion on like the medical side, the teacup program, because I've caught a lot of heat too from being very open about it. But that goes back into this. I just say things that a lot of people are thinking. I'm just not a pussy, and I just say it because I'm not afraid to have the conversation. I don't care if we disagree. It's not a big deal.
Absolutely,
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not the end of the world.
We should be able to come to this platform
But tell me about teacup, because you're applying, so you're going through that whole process, and I know you want to get in there and have the experience and change and all that stuff. So just tell me like your side of teacup and why you guys are going that route.
Man, it's an interesting situation because, when we stepped into Texas in the hemp industry, I came from, my mentors are from the medical cannabis industry. My brother Alondo has taught me everything that I know about this plant, and Long's taught me everything about cultivation, high on manufacturing, many on genetics and just the flow of things. And so I have a team that has a very high success rate. It took them, a long time to really find their, footprint and their momentum. And when we teamed up with my other business partner, who's the other owner of Fresh Grown, and Drops of Life, it was a key factor because he brought a business sense that
Right.
we've never seen. My team in New Mexico are very educated, but they come from the growing, extracting background, and that's what we're really good at. And when we combined in my other partner, Todd, he brought the business element. And when you combine both of those, we had like a hybrid version. And so we knew that we had something unique and something special there. So with the teacup program, it was very similar to the beginning of New Mexico because there's a Compassionate Use Act program. That's how New Mexico started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've watched that develop in the very beginning. And in the very beginning, what makes a difference is we applied for what's considered a vertically integrated license. And what that means is that from seed to sale on site, you have to do everything.
Right.
And that's extremely hard to do.
This is for Texas?
Yes. Yeah. So in Texas application that we submitted, you have to grow, extract, manufacture, you have to test on site. It took my team close to a decade to really perfect that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky to be able to come from that to apply it. So as we know, the teacup program is underdeveloped. And I don't think it's because the state really knew when they enforced the teacup program, they didn't really know what direction they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why I'm a huge fan of Greg Abbott, because he pays attention.
Oh yeah.
So he started getting wind of like what's going on in the inefficiencies. And so when they started talking about opening up the application process, it was my team, and we still have these conversations like, what's the benefit of being in the teacup program? And for us, we know that the hemp industry is thriving, and that's why we're very blessed to be on that side. But we also submitted an application because we want to help grow and push that program into what it could eventually become. And we know that it's not there yet. And we know that, and we're not even blaming the state for it, but it does take companies that have been doing this for a long time to come and kind of set the standard and set the bar. I'm not saying we're that company that's going to do it. And I'm not saying that the companies involved that they're doing a great job. TCC, Fluence, Good Blends, shout out to anybody who's in the industry. That's how I look at it. I'm not in competition with any of them. And if we're lucky enough to get a license, we want to help build that landscape and that blueprint the way that we feel that we've done with the hemp industry. When it comes to fresh grown Texas, it's a culture, it's a lifestyle, it's an experience that we're trying to provide. I'm not trying to sell you a product.
Right.
And so we want to take our experience, and we know it's going to be a rough ride. We know the access to hemp is a lot more accessible. We know that in the beginning, while the teacup's being developed, that it's going to take a couple years. But we're hoping that with our knowledge and our skill set that we're able to expand that into kind of show that you need hemp and you need cannabis. They could coincide with each other.
Why do you think current teacup operators would not do what you're doing?
Like with hemp?
With both. Play both. Place a bet on both.
I ask myself the question all the time because it's the exact same plant and the exact same setup.
Same process.
And so for me, you see like, and this is the thing. A lot of people in cannabis don't like the hemp and THCA industry because it's different. I mean, the license for a teacup is.
I would be jealous too.
Well, it's completely different. And, my team that does medical cannabis, when we talk about like what my licensing fees are and what the regulations are and my plant count, they're just like, are you serious? We have to spend $500,000 to go do this on cannabis and you're all in at $2,500. Like, are you serious? You see what I mean? And so it is. And even my team, and it's crazy to bring my cannabis team to Champs, because we go to MJ BizCon, but then they come to Champs and they're just like, it's funny to see their reaction. And so, they're just like, I cannot believe this, and so my team is, they're the manufacturer of Mike Tyson's products in New Mexico. Shout out to Mike Tyson's team. They have a licensing deal with them. And, it's funny for them to go to MJ BizCon and we hang out with Mike, and then they go to Champs and, like, what are you doing here? They're like, what are you doing here? And so it's interesting to see the combination of both. But that's where my cannabis team, they wanted us to get into hemp to really see like the same thing. What kind of footprint can we build here? Does what we're doing on the medical side translate to the culture and what this brand could be on Texas? And, the last few years, we've really dialed in our process, what type of products, you know what I mean? All natural, staying away from synthetics. And I feel that we've really started to, create stride. And now that we have this opportunity with medical cannabis, doesn't mean that we're stepping away from, what we do with Fresh Grown Texas or Drops of Life. Drops of Life is a THC free brand that I wanted to create that was safe for everybody. Fresh Grown was to show people that, hey, we are cultivators and we believe in the full spectrum oil. And then we have Monarch Texas Cannabis. And what we want to do is take all three of those and just, play our part in the puzzle of what this is going to become in Texas. You're going to see a lot of MSOs get licenses on October 1st, and the big dogs are coming in, and they have a pocketbook, they have a skill set, and they're coming to play.
Totally.
So for us, the way that we looked at it is, I was born and raised in Texas. I spent a little time in New Mexico with my team, but I'm from Lubbock. I'm a Lubbock boy. And so for me, it is my dream to be one of these operators in Texas, not to go up against the MSOs. I want to work with all the MSOs. I'll work with anybody, but we just want to show people what my team has dedicated like our entire life to, and what we've really tried to do on the side of medicine and the type of products that we have. And, we have some unique stuff that we don't see everywhere in the medical market. So we're excited to try to bring that to Texas. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but for everybody out there reviewing our application, we are Monarch Texas Cannabis, and we are great operators.
They are great operators. Yeah.
So that's it, man. I mean, it's a slippery slope, and people ask me all the time, why are you doing this? And I want to let people know, like, hey, in legislation, I was fighting for the plant. And if we are blessed and we're lucky enough to get that medical license, I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to do everything we can to show people like what this plant does and try to grow. Not, it doesn't mean we'll stop on the hemp side. We'll never stop on what we're doing. We're just going to try to make sure that we're involved on both sides.
Right. Yeah. Why does it feel like the current operators do not think like that? They do not think about like, oh, this is for the plant and for the people, and I want to do this right, and I don't know, work together and make sure our medical program's great.
I don't know. Like, I've reached out to some people, and I haven't been able in contact with all the operators. There is an operator that I've talked to and that is really interested in working together. And then with the new rule set with HB 46, all these operators can now make products for each other.
Right.
And so a lot of the rule set has changed, like over 100 qualifying conditions. HB 46 was, detrimental to expanding this program. So I know a lot of the applicant holders, and there are a lot of hemp people. And of course, I'm not going to put their business out there, but they're friends of ours, and them as well too. I mean, you're involved with them. And so we're talking, hypotheticals. Hey, if we both get a license, like, when's your availability to get to market? And now that we can make products for each other, it's like, we updated our application, and now I've got this network of people that hypothetically, if they get applications, we're already going to work with each other. Right. And we want the state to know that, like, hey, we're not trying to create a monopoly. We want to just expand what this plant is. We want to show people like, hey, you need flower in the teacup program. Right. You know what I mean? It all begins and ends with the plant.
It's interesting that you have that. Like, it's such a 180 from what it is right now, I believe.
100%.
I believe right now it's like hemp's the scapegoat. And that's not just Texas. Yeah. Hemp is a scapegoat for a lot of failing sections or entire industries, entire markets. And that's just not the case. It's usually the program and the government. Exactly. That's usually the problem, right?
Exactly.
It has not the demand, not the flower, not the quality of product, not the operators most of the time. It's usually the program. And that's what I'm definitely against. But it's interesting to hear your take on that. And I hope that some of the other folks do get approved. I hope that they do change this program for Texans, and change it for the better. Because like I said, we would all be right there. We'd be right there in the mix.
That's
if the program's better, like we'd all be right there in the mix. We'd quickly drop the money. We'd quickly do all the stipulations and
absolutely,
all that, so it's, we're not like trying to resist. I'm resisting this program. And also because of the way that certain individuals just blame my industry and businesses for their failures, and that's not the case. And I think that is a really cheap pussy way to blame someone on your own failures. And again, you could join hemp at any time. So if I'm in a program and I'm bleeding money, the last thing I'm going to do is like try to go get more money from debt from investors and bail myself out. Like, if there's a way over here of saying, okay, I can have this, and I'm in the medical program like you, I have my license, I'm chucking away, and maybe we break even. But over here in hemp, like, I'm making 40%, 60% margin on everything. It's flying off the shelves. There's more money than I know what to do with.
Bigger demand than there is supply.
Bigger demand.
Yeah.
Nationwide.
Absolutely.
So there's all those things. Like, for me as a business owner, I'd be like, well, let me do both. Not let me try to take this completely out, because even if they took us out and we were gone on September 1st, we're gone. It's not a vacuum. It's not just going to be like, oh, okay, all of a sudden we have 1 million patients in the program. It's not. It would. They've had a decade of runway
for that.
Exactly.
Go back to the black market too, honestly.
And I think the program's just like people will get into the TCA program and never go get products. They'll just go to their dealer, or they'll go get hemp products or whatever. They just want it as
just have the card. Exactly.
Just have the card and all that. And it's not exactly the get out of jail free card that people think that it's going to be.
It's not.
And so it's just like that whole thing is a mess. And I'm very hopeful and positive that more people that I know are getting involved there, because it's the program has a ways to go in order for it to be viable and serve Texans the way that it should. It really should. I totally believe it should. We deserve it. And the research, the high dose, like I make high dose products right now, but because I have to, because there isn't any out there that are safe and effective. So I have to make those.
There's patients that want that.
And there's patients that want that. Absolutely. If that high dose goes away, there's still rec patients and low dose patients, or people that will go buy 5 of 100 milligram to get what they need that are not in the medical program. But the medical program deserves to have the high dose, deserves to have the research, deserves to have like
a full program,
better access instantaneously, RSO, things that are unique that you don't get on a rec market. You don't even need to have on a rec market. Like who needs recreational RSO caps?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like if you want to get on a ride, I get it. You could just eat a brownie or something. You don't have to suffer through RSO for that, you know, but there are people that need it. And that's something that it makes me passionate about it. And it's not because I'm like a hater or anything or jealous or whatever. It's literally because it's like, to me, I'm here for Texas. That should be very true, very obvious by now. Like Texans are who I wear on my shoulder. It's consumers, operators, non-consumers. And I just don't feel like that we have the right program. And I think we need more people like this, more thoughts like that. Like let's do both and build both, because there's always going to be a medical and a rec side of this. Even if they're the same industry, there are going to be people who use this for medicinal purposes and wellness and recreation. We're never going to get away from that. So we want one to be the best at treating people medicinally, and I want one to be the best at quality products for recreation.
Yeah.
And they don't have to fight each other.
No, they don't.
The infighting is
where
crazy.
We want to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
We want to bridge that gap, and that's what our hope is that
we got enough enemies. This whole industry, the plant has enough enemies, dude.
Well, and to be honest with you, Colton, our team and I had that serious discussion. I mean, we entered our application 2 years ago and just barely started hearing things about it within the last 6 months in correspondence. And we had to sit down with each other and say, okay, the hemp is really taking off. We're helping a lot of people, and that's what we set out to do. And the company's starting to grow. Yeah. And so we said, do we need, this distraction? And, my business partner on the Texas side, Todd, I mean, if this all works out, we all in Texas owe Todd a thank you, because he's 100%. Willing to take this risk, because he's not from the cannabis industry, but he's seen what this has done for people and people in his life.
Yes.
And so he's willing to take the risk so that we could try to push that envelope, because hopefully in 2 years, you and I are having a way different podcast. And we're talking about, how you are now an operator. And so that's what we want to do, is go into Texas and say, okay, we're a vertically integrated operator, but not everybody needs a vertically integrated license. There's a lot of good growers. Jeremy Green just needs a cultivation license. Okay?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Planet K just needs a dispensary license.
100%.
You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. You guys just need an edible and manufacturing license. You know what I mean? On your edible kitchen, you don't have to have the whole enchilada.
Well, see, that's the thing about vertical integration. Like, because to me, I've always been from, like with edibles, we make what we make in our kitchen that we're good at, and the things we don't know how to do, we found an expert to come do for us.
Same.
So like, I'm not trying to like be really good at making brownies and then go to candy school and learn gummies and gelatin and pectin. Like we're really good at baking and chocolates and confection. So let's find a candy maker to do this piece. Mm-hmm. And that's what the other thing with vertical integration is, like, that's really difficult. So you either have to hire or learn or buy and sink money into this. So like, to me, the having experts, like right now with the farm, when we extract, we go use our extractor, who is the like first license for extraction. Like, there's not that many of them, but like he's been here. So why are we going to go buy a machine? Why are we going to hire some nerd and stuff to run the machine when you can do it? And we can create this synergy, just
ecosystem.
This ecosystem.
We all flow with each other. We all have a lane in this industry, man.
Vertical is hard as fuck.
Yeah.
If you look at, I mean, it's a lot of moving parts, and it's not something that small businesses can achieve overnight,
Yeah.
you know? So
Took us a decade, man.
and we don't want to do it. Like I love extraction. I love hash and stuff, but I don't want to do it. I would love to see my strains turned into hash that I can smoke.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to do it. I don't want to wash. I'm not interested in that. I'm not heady in that sense. Like I just love the plants. We love strains. We love cultivation. I love smoking the flower. That's it. We want to be good at that. And I want to, if we're going to get in a program, we want to be a cultivator. We don't need our name on the front of the package. We don't need I don't need to be on the cover of High Times.
Same.
Money's green. Plants are gone.
Yeah.
Everything's cool.
Even though the team does have a couple of High Time cups. So shout out to Elevated Crew.
But that's what I think in 2 years we will have another conversation. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad we're going to earmark
Hopefully
that.
it's a year. I mean, man, this is the thing is I want to progress this with you and Colton. You know, we've always had great synergy, and you know, people speak very highly about you and the circles that we're in, you know, and I really like what you're doing and, you know, how you're putting us together on, you know, let's talk about Grow World, dude. I mean, you're killing it with getting everybody involved in that and what that's providing for all these people. And what you're doing is creating, you know, we all knew each other, but now you're creating this platform where all of us growers are communicating with each other that never talked before. And dude, you know, some great people like the Cajun Chronic guy.
Rocky.
I love talking
G.
with him, you know, and he's really into his craft. And then shout out to Cap Rock. I was in Lubbock last Friday. You know, I'm going to meet up with Zach for lunch after this, you know, so it's just really cool to see like where you're taking in and creating that unity, because in cannabis, unfortunately, you know, the money gets involved and it gets real cutthroat. And so I think that's what makes Texas unique right now is that we have this large culture and people come and see this and they see 20 brands hanging out with each other, you know, all pushing the same thing. And that's the plant. We serve the plant, and you don't see that in a lot of industries. So we want to bring that to the cannabis side if we get an opportunity, and just, you know, try to create that unity and, you know, the culture and what this is really supposed to be. So,
well, I'm glad you guys are seeing it. We're working hard to keep all the glue together.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
takes a lot.
Sometimes people in my growers group shit talk, which is not what the fuck that group is for. Just letting everyone know, Nick.
I heard him.
And I know you wouldn't say that shit in person, just so you know. But hey, you know what? Talk all you want, but when it comes to throw down for a cup or a competition or a smoke sesh, you better be there and you better bring some fucking heat and back it up.
Let
you
the
know
flower
what I mean?
speak for itself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, don't let your mouth speak. Let the flower speak. But yeah, that community is really important to me because there are so many talented people. And what fun is being rich with nobody around you? You know what I mean? So if we have all this $8 billion that they talk about, it's like, well, if you're all alone on a yacht because you did it all, it's like, what the fuck? What good is that? Like, I don't want that. And I'm not here. I didn't get into this industry to chase money.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. Because there are way easier ways and faster ways
to get rich,
to make money.
Less stressful.
I've done them and I do them in addition to all this stuff. Now, this stuff's obviously taking off great, but it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not in this for money. And it's cool to do things with you guys, with ATX Organics, with anybody in here that are like, they're for the culture. They're young. They're hungry. They're compliant. They're genuine. They care about what goes into their products. They're small batch. They care about the craft.
They do.
And that's the next generation of this too. You know, that I want to make sure that we cultivate, so to speak, is like, these guys are young dudes and people now are graduating high school or graduating college and they're hitting me up. And they're like, yo, dude, I don't want to get an IT job. I don't want to go get a fucking cubicle job or work for my dad or whatever. I want to do cannabis, and I see that there's a way in. Where do I go? And I'm like, you show up to Liz's events and you meet people.
Yeah,
and
straight up.
You hit me up on Instagram and you get in the growers group and stuff like that. And you just got to kind of inject yourself. But we have to harness the power of this next generation coming up. And
yeah, we do.
I've learned from people like Stravinsky, watching people that go before us and pioneer, and all these people from First Smoke that have been the guests, you know, and even Blackleaf and them themselves. I literally keep a pulse on all of that to learn from the greats and implement here and pave the way. And I think what the culture has now started to do is show that, like, if you want to get into this, you can. If you want to be a podcaster, you can.
Yeah.
If you want to start a business or a brand and link up with people in Texas, you can. It's here now. It's here for the taking.
Just do it.
Like with Caprock, you know, Zach's a young dude. He's inheriting all this experience and infrastructure for agriculture.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one that's going to be getting that,
No.
you know, and that's happening all over. And so if you can show the youth that's inheriting dad and grandpa's farms that there's cash crop ways to put some money in your pocket, you don't have to just get by.
Exactly.
You don't have to stop doing what you're doing, but you can do something additional. And there's just so much talent that's going to come on the scene. So I want to create more of a community, and Grow World's definitely help that. I mean, we just got an overhaul with Grow World where it's going to be more focused on like vendor to business, like relationships, not so much the community of all of us talking, but actually like direct relationships between the vendor partners and members of the Grow World community, and also the trial marketplace where you can try stuff for free, but you can also get the best pricing on things. Because that's another thing, you know, especially scaling business or being in a new market, you know, you can't, some people can, but you don't want to get married to one vendor or one thing, one product right off the bat. There's a lot of testing. This whole thing is a test. I think we're all still testing sometimes, and find who works with you, works for you, gets the results that you want. And there's many options out there. And that's what Grow World allows a lot of us to do.
Yeah, we didn't have that 10 years ago. We didn't have that 15 years ago. Stuff like that blows my mind. And I'm like, you know, the kids and, you know, not kids, but the people coming up today, I'm like, man, you could get on YouTube and watch this stuff, you know?
Totally.
We were trying to grow 20 years ago. Like, man, we had to find underground forums. You know what I mean? Like,
Grow Bible.
That's right. You had to get a book or some shit, or find an old head to
the
teach
access
you.
to the knowledge is mind blowing. So yeah, man, the youth always pushes, you know, the envelope. So it's just, you know, I hate to say it as an OG, because I guess I'm that old, but it's up to us OGs to make sure that the, you know, just the culture stays and that we protect the plant and what it's really here for. Yeah. And that's the most important thing to me. And that's all I want to do is help people with this plant. So,
well, I know the youth, like, we really want to soak it up. Cause I love just being attached to Jeremy's hip when he's in the grow, you know, I'm like, and we've had a person actually come and work for us for 2 years for free. Like, left school, was like, fuck this, I'm going to jump in with you guys. Did it 2 years for free. We're like, we can't pay you, and we're going to work you to the bone. He was like, okay.
And so now he knows how to grow.
And he's a savage,
one of the best growers in the state, man.
He's a savage. And so like, he's such a like wealth of knowledge that anybody that gets into our ecosystem, like you're going to learn crazy shit about plants and growing. And it's not, we don't just do weed. Like, he has tomatoes, he's got watermelon that we did. We got a hydroponic thing going on. Thumb, like, dude, the guy, like any problem with horticulture, he'll be able to fix it. And so just learning from him, and then obviously seeing how interested the next generation is, like younger dudes that are coming up, starting businesses or taking over or moving up in companies. Like, it's energizing to me, because it's like the replace yourself theory. It's like, you know, as we get older and we start to expand, there's more people that are filling the gaps. There's new businesses, there's new innovation, there's new talent, new personalities that are coming on the scene to keep running the torch the way that we need it to be. And so we can kind of set that up with Texas to have our own like culture of how you come up in this, just like you have it in California and the East Coast and everywhere else. You know,
we're going to do it different.
We're going to do it our way, bigger and better.
Southern hospitality.
Yeah, and speaking of Southern hospitality, I got some gifts.
Man, appreciate that.
Nobody likes a fucking ad break, so we're not going to take an ad break. But this is some bags from 454 Bags. You probably already know about them.
Amazing, dude. They're 100%. Killing it right now. I love those.
So this is a sample box from 454 Bags for you guys. Awesome. This is just what they give out. So here's some extra bags. There's some t-shirts in there as well.
Cool, man. Thank you for that.
So I threw an extra one in there for you guys. So
cool.
This is for you. But 454 Bags. If you guys want to try 454 Bags, you can go to 454bags.com/ColtonLuther420 and get a 10% discount on your order. If you're looking to try these bags, reach out to me directly and we can get you a trial box just like this, so you can experience the difference of food grade plastic, not stealing your trichomes and your terpenes and your flavors and all the things you work fucking really hard for can get stolen away from you. We don't want to do that. So use 454 Bags to protect your fresh produce. They're the future of post-harvest cannabis. Check them out. Those are for you guys. Enjoy that this week.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are using this brand, and a lot of people that have heard about it from you, and I've asked them about it, and we just started messing with them as well because of Grow World. And dude, they're on it. This is companies like this is what's changing the evolution of the game.
Totally.
you know.
And not everyone's going to care about the plastic and their storage, but for
Makes a
those that
difference,
do,
dude.
it makes a huge difference.
When
And
you harvest 75,000 pounds in a year, it makes a difference.
yeah, and you work really hard for 75,000 pounds in a year, and that it doesn't steal trikes. I mean, you've seen it. You get bud out of a bag, and the bag is stickier than the bud sometimes. And those Mylars and just cheap plastic will steal, and that prevents that, that's where the medicine is. So that's the most important part.
Absolutely.
Protect the plant.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man. Yeah, we brought you some flour too, some stuff.
Yes, I'm fully loaded here on fresh grown. We have a long day and night ahead of us, so this is going to be with me on my hip at all times.
No, we appreciate it, Colton. You're crushing it, man. You're the Joe Rogan of hemp
and
cannabis podcast, man. I'm telling you, it's cool to be on this in the beginning because this thing's going to blow up. It's only going to get bigger. You and your team. I mean, it's the nicest studio in Texas, and you're bringing real topics and real people. So we're honored to be here, man. And Austin, just want to thank you, even though I did all the talking. Sorry, bro.
No, it's all good. This is what it's here for. I mean, the Fresh Grown boys didn't pay a dime to be here. I didn't pay them anything either. So this is obviously, it's a genuine platform. If you're a grower out there, you want to tell your story, this is where to do it. We'd love to have you. If you're a brand or business or vendor out there that wants more exposure in Texas, we'd love to work with you. Obviously, my homies here like 454 Bags and the likes get a lot of increased exposure here in Texas as things are booming. And as you can see, we got a lot of talented growers out here, a lot of talented people with experienced palates that know what good product is, and they recognize it when they see it. So if that's you, definitely reach out to the Texas Growers Podcast for some ad placements. And we will keep this going into the future. There's a lot of updates, a lot of new developments that are going to come in Texas. And like we said, it's on like Donkey Kong out here. I'm sure most of you are packing your bags as we speak to bring your entire staff and team out here to start growing and cultivating in Texas. I think you should. So if you're interested in that, also hit us up. We got a good growers group, good community, and a lot of good events coming up in the future. So if you are going to MJ BizCon this year, please attend the Texas Takeover. Liz Grow and I are going to be out there taking over MJ BizCon at the Texas Takeover. And we are going to tell you the true unadulterated story on what we all just went through to push THC and cannabis freedoms forward in Texas. So if you want to hear that story, make sure you come out to MJ BizCon. If you're looking to grow your business, network with the best of them, meet some of the people we talked about here today in person, in the flesh, and ask them hard-hitting questions, come out to MJ BizCon. We want as many Texas businesses and growers out there as possible because people, when they hear this story, are going to be very energized. And we want all of that to bleed into your conversations, into your relationships for the future. And so it's a great way to cap off the year with some fun and games out in Las Vegas at MJ BizCon after fighting for our businesses all year long. And we'll get some very special attention from MJ BizCon. People are dying to hear about what is going on in Texas. And I'll tell you this, if you really want to experience it, you got to come out here. You got to get in the mix. Come chop it up with everybody. Go on the Texas Growers Podcast, of course, and come to some of our events because our community and our market is like nothing that you've ever seen before, and we plan to keep it that way. So shout out to Soundshed Studios for this amazing setup. We love these guys.
You're the man, Paul.
If you're, Paul's the man. He's back there plugging away as usual. This would not be possible without Soundshed Studios. So if you're looking to film content for your brand, your business, tell your founder story, whatever you want to do, we can set that up here at Soundshed Studios. So if you're in Austin or Texas and you want the best of the best, this is the production team to work with. So everyone will be linked in the description. You know where to find them. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Growers Podcast. We are crushing it. We're growing like crazy, just like the industry here, just like the plant. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Later, guys.
Right on.
Thank you, Colton.